Why mixed research? Duke and Mallette share 5 messages that inspired their work, and they want us, the readers, to consider these 5 messages as we approach each methodology in this book and beyond. So message 4 and 5 is highlighted in this chapter because it relates to mixed research. Message 4 states, synergy across research methodologies is possible, powerful, and advisable. Message 5 states, we must urgently and actively pursue synergy across research methodologies. So let's talk about synergy. Synergy is when the parts come together to create a greater whole. Also, monomethodology is the use of either qualitative or quantitative research. So you're choosing one or the other. So monomethodology can create synergy, but a well-designed mixed research study, both using qualitative and quantitative inquiry, can also lead to synergy. So let's check out the differences between qualitative and quantitative research, and let's also look at what they have in common. On the left, we have qualitative research. On the right, you see quantitative research and its characteristics listed below. And in the middle, you see both. So let's check out both first. Qualitative and quantitative research come with a set of techniques for addressing literacy research questions that call for the collection, analysis, and interpretation of data. Additionally, qualitative and quantitative research both maintain a powerful approach for tackling an array of literacy research questions. So now let's focus in on qualitative research and what it uses and what it is. So qualitative research is non-numerical data, and it can inform theory and model development and achieve first-hand or understanding, such as EMIC or insider's perspective. Qualitative research is useful for exploring, discovering, describing, and constructing human phenomena. For example, obtaining insights about an individual or a group experience and the meaning attached to those experiences. Qualitative research addresses and answers how and why questions, and it's typically based on small, non-randomized samples. So it's often not very generalizable beyond a local research participant. Now look to the right. Qualitative research is numerical data that informs the field of literacy. It's useful for describing, explaining, and predicting human phenomena, often attempted under controlled conditions to identify cause and effect relationships. And the findings in quantitative research can be generalized from a sample to the population from which the sample was drawn. Quantitative research answers who, where, how many, how much, and what is the relationship between specific variables. Qualitative research is optimal for conditions that consist of large randomized samples. What happens when we mix these two powerful methods? Research methods that include qualitative and quantitative research within the same inquiry involve much more than mixing techniques. In the field of literacy, mixed research methodology serves the purpose of combining qualitative and quantitative research approaches to gain a comprehensive understanding of literacy-related phenomena. The contributors to this chapter recognize the importance of monomethodology using either qualitative or quantitative research. However, they suggest mixed method research provides better findings and outcomes because it offers holistic results, even referring to this research method as the researcher's paradigm. For example, qualitative and quantitative research can contribute different viewpoints and techniques, providing more thorough answers to research questions. Ultimately, the purpose is to obtain a more holistic and nuanced understanding of literacy and inform evidence-based practices in this field. Mixed research in the literacy field. Key history. The chapter distinguishes the evolution of mixed research methodology in the field of literacy in phases, beginning the first phase in the 1970s, when researchers began informally using mixed research, as in they weren't classifying their research studies as mixed research. In fact, they were mainly using qualitative methodology and then using the quantitative data to support the findings. For example, one study done by Fareed in 1971 and another study done in Garner in 1980 followed quantitative research report structure and supported the statistical results by including the qualitative findings in the discussion portion. When we got into the second phase in the 1980s and 1990s, researchers began providing more thorough answers to questions in the literacy field by embracing mixed research, forming stronger rationales for mixing the two methodologies. For example, the qualitative methodology provides numerical database that helps analyze who, where, how many, how much, and the relationship between variables, whereas the qualitative methodology describes the insider's perspective or personal voice and provides the how and why about the development of the knowledge. So researchers conducted studies that contained both methods in this phase, and the findings of both methods were integrated, but the analysis of the methods were reported in separate sections. Also in this phase were the qualitative and quantitative paradigm wars. So you think about the sample sizes. For example, the sample sizes in the qualitative data were usually small, whereas sample sizes in quantitative data are larger. That kind of made some complications in some studies for their samples. So they kind of like had trouble mixing those. But also in this phase, stronger rationales were formed for using this methodology. So you can see more about that in those studies. In the third phase, researchers began formally using mixed research from the early 2000s to the present. So instead of providing a rationale for mixing methods, they were more focused on providing theoretical rationale in their research. This methodology was becoming more state-of-the-art in this phase, and it's setting foot into the fourth phase, where researchers can offer thicker descriptions and viewpoints with more than one theoretical perspective. The fourth phase, happening now, distinguishes mixed research as a meta-paradigm, or the perspective or theory to produce new or more complex whole. It's described as having a meta voice to research, so that means a way to express both worlds, like as in numerical data and theory and model development, and achieve that Verstehen that we were talking about. Verstehen, excuse me, that's a new word for me. But also having answers to questions that ask who, where, how many, how much, and what is the relationship between variables. Presently, mixed research is still evolving, and one of the biggest advances to mixed research is the integration approach. Remember how we touched on Duke and Mallette's messages, specifically message 5, which was, we must urgently and actively pursue synergy across research methodologies? Well, the 1 + 1 = 3 integration formula by Fetters and Freshwater means that qualitative plus quantitative equals more than the individual components. This integration formula isn't referring to adding two monomethodologies together separately. Both qualitative and quantitative research methods are integrated in one study. Both parts are working together in one study and allowing the created whole to be greater. Synergy can be achieved. 1 + 1 = 1 integration approach formula is the integration of data collection, data analysis, and data interpretation phases. Additionally, the crossover mixed analysis is sequentially or simultaneously integrating methods, like using qualitative analysis to analyze data associated with quantitative data. Prevalence of mixed research studies in literacy research. Even though mixed research methodology has grown and evolved over the past several decades, Onwuegbuzie and Mallette share examples of how publications in literacy are still largely influenced by monomethodological research. For example, a study done in 2016 by Parsons et al. Reviewed 9 literacy journals from 2009 to 2014. In it, they examined content, methodology, and theoretical perspectives of published articles. They found that only 9% of these published articles used mixed research studies, whereas 67% used quantitative research and 24% used qualitative research. Using mixed research studies can help researchers obtain a more holistic and nuanced understanding of literacy to inform evidence-based practices. So why is this methodology limited? 6 common problems limiting the number of mixed method research noted by Wilkinson and Stanley in 2019 include underdeveloped qualitative data analysis and sampling, 2, underdeveloped qualitative data analysis and design, 3, flawed logic of inquiry, 4, lack of focus, 5, weak articulation, and 6, what they called methodological hand-wringing. Stages of the mixed research process. In a 2003 study, Newman, Reidner, and DeMarco provide a framework for a mixed research process of 9 steps across 3 stages: the research conceptualization stage, research planning stage, and the research implementation stage. The research conceptualization stage is all about forming the concept of the research. During this stage, the researcher is reviewing ample and valid and reliable literature for the literature review. Step 1 involves determining the goal and deciding about the research study's overall long-term focus. Step 2 involves connecting the research goal to the research objective with 6 major standard research objectives. They are exploration, description, understanding, explanation, prediction, and influence. Researchers determine and identify why mixing research is needed in Step 3. Collins suggests 4 reasons why mixing is needed: for participant, enrichment, instrumental, fidelity, treatment, integrity, significance, and enhancement. Researchers determine the purpose of the mixing in Step 4, and according to the framework by Green, Caroselli, and Graham's 1989, this methodology has 5 main purposes: triangulation, complementarity, initiation, development, and expansion. Setting the purpose in Step 4 supports the development of the research questions in Step 5. Questions can be reevaluated and reframed in Steps 8, 11, and 13. Research planning stage, Steps 6 and 7. Onwuegbuzie and Mallette refer to a mixed research process framework from a 2006 study by Collins et al. To describe Steps 6 and 7. For instance, researchers select the mixed sampling design in Step 6 and the mixed research design in Step 7. Onwuegbuzie states, these steps are both interactive and iterative because the choice of sampling design affects the selection research design and vice versa. Appropriate research questions for mixed research. Forming a mixed research question and subsequent sub-questions that address the mixing and integrating of qualitative and quantitative methodology plays a key role in mixed research. In a 2004 study, Johnson and Onwuegbuzie state what is most fundamental is the research question. Research method should follow research questions in a way that offers the best chance to obtain useful answers. 3 ways that mixed research questions can be constructed are described by Tashikori and Cresswell in a 2007 study. They suggest the first approach involves producing individual quantitative and qualitative questions and then generating an explicit mixed research question. The second approach entails writing a comprehensive mixed or integrated research question. In this step, the researcher addresses each phase in the investigation by breaking down individual quantitative and qualitative sub-questions. In the third phase, research questions for each phase are written as the study progresses. Claims for mixed research. Onwuegbuzie and Mallette share there are several common claims made by mixed researchers about mixed research, such as mixed research represents a distinctive methodology, as in it's distinct from both quantitative and qualitative methodologies, probably because it offers a holistic approach promoting synergy. Johnson and Onwuegbuzie state in a 2004 study that many research questions and combinations of questions are best and most fully answered through mixed research solutions. In addition to these claims, the contributing chapters or the contributing authors state that some of the claims differ as a function of the philosophical assumptions and stance of the mixed researchers. So to name a few of the stances, they are complementary strengths, transformative emancipatory, and dialectal pluralism, which the authors state that this is a back and forth disputation and examination and can include the dynamic logic of thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. Standards of quality for mixed methodology research. According to a comprehensive framework developed by O'Cathan in 2010, 8 domains that assess quality of mixed research was developed. Standards for quality in case study methodology include these 8 domains, and they are used to assess quality in mixed research. An overview of the standards of quality can be viewed under each domain found in Chapter 13's Table 13.1. The first one is the planning quality. The planning quality domain is evident in the section describing the study. The second one is design quality. The research questions match the design in the design quality domain, but there needs to be a balance of qualitative and quantitative questions, and it needs to have overarching mixed research questions as well. Number 3, data quality. The data quality domain, you want to look at a large sample size, or the sample size is of what it pertains. Number 4, interpretive rigor. Number 5, inference transferability, which is like sophisticated data analysis. Number 6, reporting quality. And 7, synthesizability. And 8, utility. To obtain transparency of the study, Onwuegbuzie and Corrigan created 5 elements to achieve rigor. And these 5 elements that you see on this page directly relate to the steps that we saw on the previous slide. So 1, comprehensive. That just means that all the steps on the previous slide were followed during the research process. And 2, they were followed in a systematic way, which means that the steps were followed in a sound and logical sequence. 3, evaluative. Each of those steps of the research process is evaluated. 4, defensible. A rationale supporting design and inquiry decision is provided. And 5, transparent. The logic of the inquiry is clearly documented. Here are the studies I mentioned in this chapter lead. A lot of this information in this chapter was new to me, so it took me a while to break it down, but I hope you were all able to learn from it like I did. Thanks for watching.